Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Grace Academy. My name is Casey Pruitt, and I am the Executive Director of Programs and Marketing for the Grace Alliance, formerly known as Mental Health Grace Alliance. The Grace Alliance is a mental health recovery and support organization with staff in both California and Texas. And here at the Grace Alliance, we aim to make mental health recovery accessible to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And there are three ways that we really do that. First, we provide mental health recovery through our Thrive Workbook and Thrive Online course. These two resources provide holistic guidance through that journey of mental health recovery for those who are living with mental health difficulties and disorders. And both of these resources work alongside and complement any professional care that they're receiving. Second, we help build community support. And that's what this Grace Academy is about, equipping you to start a support group right in your church or community, whether for families or for individuals experiencing mental health difficulties. These Grace groups are a place of comfort and recovery. And lastly, we provide education and training through our Grace Live webinars, church trainings, blogs, and other opportunities to come. And we do all of this with integrative biblical and clinical insight for providing supportive care. So why do we do all of this? It's because we understand and have even experienced the reality of mental illness, how it affects people's lives, and the support that's needed. So let's take a look at that. This year, 1 in 5 US adults will meet the criteria for having a mental illness. And on top of that, 1 in 5 adolescents will also meet the criteria for having a mental illness. And did you know that 1 in 5 of our soldiers return with post-traumatic stress disorder? And those numbers amount to over 60 million people being affected by mental illness in the US. But let's look specifically at the church. On any given Sunday, 27% of a church congregation is dealing with a mental illness or has a family member who is. And those families are dealing with twice as many stressors and are so discouraged that they're walking away from their own practice of faith. And even though a majority of individuals with a diagnosable mental illness are actually coming to the church first for support, 30 to 40% of them are being dismissed. They're being told things like mental illness doesn't exist, or maybe that their mental health difficulties are caused by only something spiritual, like sin or a bondage issue, not trusting the Lord, or even some demonic interaction or oppression. And unfortunately, over 70% of pastors feel inadequate to respond to mental health needs. And this is not because these pastors don't love or care. It's just that they've usually never had any seminary training or ongoing education to address these mental health concerns. So how do we as Christians address mental illness? Well, I think it really starts with understanding a definition of mental illness from both a biblical and a clinical perspective. But to give us a good foundation, let's start with the biblical perspective. We want to see people as God sees them. This person has eternal value. They are fully loved by God, they have a story, and they have an opportunity for life. That's the foundation that we want to start on, not dismissing science or the clinical aspects of mental illness, but first remembering that we're encountering a person that God has created. And no matter where they are with their illness, there is an opportunity to improve life. You know, we look at 2 Corinthians 5:17 a lot when it talks about us being a new creation, the old things have passed away, the new things have come. But in verse 16, the verse right before, we see Paul say that from now on, he doesn't look at anyone according to worldly standards or values, but he looks at them how Christ looks at them, through the love of Christ. Even Peter in Acts 10:28, he learned from God not to look at anybody as unclean. Because in Isaiah 57:15, we see that God dwells in a high and holy place, but that he also dwells with those who are crushed in spirit and those whose hearts are contrite in order to revive them. With that biblical foundation set, let me now give you some instructions about how to continue on with this Grace Academy training. The first step is to download and print the free resources that accompany this training, which will be the training manual and the leader's guide. The training manual will follow along with these Grace Academy videos with fill in the blanks and space for you to take notes. The leader's guide will give you some more in-depth insight on the topics that we discuss in these videos. Second, make sure to visit the Grace Academy page on our website to register your group so that we can provide you with ongoing support, keep you up to date with special events, help promote your group on our website, and even offer you special discounts. The third step is to watch all of the necessary Grace Academy training videos. If you're planning to facilitate a living grace group for peers, you'll watch videos 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. If you're planning to facilitate a family grace group, you'll watch videos 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you're planning to facilitate both, you'll watch all 6 videos. Now, once you've completed all of the Grace Academy videos, you can buy your workbooks on our website, which will then prepare you for the last step, starting your group. We hope that you find these videos helpful for beginning your groups as you learn the clinical and biblical insight that will help you share God's goodness and see lives transformed. And we thank you because you are now a part of making mental health recovery accessible to anyone, anywhere, anytime.